or the humans, everybody has this sense of relationship. And I heard a news story on today that they're going to fire or let go 300,000 teachers. And I was trying to think if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, that's a good thing.
well, I think it's a good thing too, because that's in some ways, that might show my political leaning. It's like losing 300,000 prison guards, but the other fact of it is that, or mind control, MK Ultra people. But from another standpoint, they're not letting 3 million kids go. They're keeping them in mind control prisons. I would rather see 3 million kids go and have less class sizes. I'm not saying anything against the teachers. I'm saying everything against the curriculum. And see, this is where we're looking for new teachers and new ways to teach. And so these new mediums, like you're doing the DVDs, and I'm sure your path to this process. I don't know your full bio as far as what was the compulsive turning point that turns you into the modern-day newscaster, teacher, philosopher.
Well, actually, I was an atheist, brought up very well in the school system. I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything supernatural. I thought science had all the answers. I thought Western civilization was just the be-end of all things. And, then I discovered alchemy, and actually was going to debunk alchemy. That was my original purpose. I was a journalist, and I was going to debunk this nonsense completely. And as I studied it and realized that it went back into ancient Egypt and China, and the more I studied, the more I realized that my worldview was completely wrong, and lost family, lost friends. People didn't want to talk to me anymore because I was, off into woo-woo, I guess. And but I'm here to tell you that everything we were taught in school is BS. And I mean, I'm sorry, everything. Oh. And even the good books are still not good for you. And I've really come to this conclusion that the poisoning of the mind is beginning at an early age, and this is why they're pouring so much into public education, which is not public education at all. And I think it's great. Here in Oregon, they're going to have to go to a 4-day class week because they don't have enough money anymore. And I'm going. People ask me, well, what do you think of that? I say, oh, we should go to 2-day. Let's go to 1 day. In fact, let's not have the kids go to school at all. Let's let them go out into the woods, and we'll teach them how to what the local foods are, and where water comes from, and how to do soil preservation, and where do the animals run, and where do they go, and at night, and where do they go in the winter, and these kinds of things. And I have nothing but disdain for the entire modern educational system, and I realize that they are not teaching us anything, and that's not the point. The point is to mind control us, to completely get us under their grip so that we can't think our way out of a problem.
Well, that's the main thing, and the thing is we can and we are. And at this point, I don't mean to interrupt everyone, but we're going to play a bit of a music file and take a bit of a break, grab some water, whatever, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you, Jane.
Gary may have himself muted.
We were just discussing the school system, and I think most of the people that are connected to us here on our show quite agree with you. You don't have to think anybody thinks you're woo-woo here, Jay. We're all from planet woo-woo.
That's good to hear. Well, woo-woo is soon going to be reality, so...
Yeah.
Well, woo-woo is already our reality, so...
Yeah, it's going to be everybody's reality.
Exactly.
Yeah, there is a lot of discussion going on about the educational system in the chat, and it's very interesting because this is very kind of in my face at the moment, where my oldest daughter is 4, and everybody keeps saying to me, "Are you sending her to school? She's going to school this year, right?" And my ex is really big on getting her into the public school system, and I'm totally against that. And, I'm also thinking and saying to a lot of people, when we went to school, when I was young, I went to kindergarten. Now they've got, they're telling us, your kids now, they can go to school at 4. They can go to junior kindergarten. And several of the schools here have actually gone to full days for junior kindergarten. So, they're really, really pushing this now, getting your kids into school and making it look like it's something good, because you're like, oh, well, then you can go back to work and you don't have to worry about, child care or whatever. You can just send them to school. But, in doing that, not only are we giving into that, as we know, giving into that, the programming, but at the same time, by doing that, you're saying, well, somebody else is better than me, the parent, to teach my child, right? And, there's something wrong with that.
Well, there is, and, interesting thing, in my life, I've known 3 people who have made $100 million or more. One of them made $3.5 billion, actually. And they're my friends, and I got to know them really well. And what was very interesting about all 3 of them was they all told me at separate occasions that if they were in school today, they would be, I forget what hyperactive. They would be called hyperactive and would be given Ritalin, and which of course would mean that they would never have been successful. None of them went to college, and 2 are high school dropouts. And I started thinking about that, and I went and I looked, and I realized that my favorite film director, Stanley Kubrick, was a high school dropout. Steven Spielberg was a high school dropout. Bill Gates went to college for 2 months and dropped out. And I started thinking, there's something strange here, because we've been told that if you go to college and you get a good education, you're going to be a success. Yet here I have absolute proof that even in this corrupt society, that doesn't work. It's actually the people who don't get an education that are being successful here. What's going on? And then I realized that the education has nothing to do with an education. It has to do with getting your mind in a certain place where you can no longer critically analyze anything. And
conditioning.
It is. And I have 2 brothers. I have 4 kids in my family I grew up with. 2 went to college and have master's degrees, and 2 were considered early losers because my brother and I really didn't like college, and we didn't attend. I finally did go for journalism, but only because I had to have a degree in order to continue forth. But both my brother and I, who didn't really have much of an education, we're doing fantastic, and my other 2 siblings, who have a very, very advanced education, are doing terrible. And so I'm not sure it makes any difference. People say to me, oh, well, school teaches you how to interact with other children and everything, and my answer to that is, no, actually what you learn in school is you learn how to put on a condom, and you learn how to shoot heroin, and you learn what drugs are available, and who the easiest girls are. This is what's really going on in school, and there's no education. It's a farm for producing conditioned people, and I wouldn't send my kid to a public school at all. I might go for one of those Montessori schools, which is where we sent our kid. But even those are kind of mind-controlling, too. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I guess I would choose homeschooling at this point, just so I wouldn't let anybody get their mitts on my young mind. And I think that's the answer. And I think in the future...